We've got that situation now where we've had an Afghan national found guilty of abducting and raping a 12-year-old girl. Tell us more.
Yes, this is a 23-year-old Afghan illegal immigrant who arrived on a small boat in March of last year. Ahmed Mulakil had been in this country just 4 months, given safe haven in the UK, and just 4 months later he went on to attack, to abduct, to rape and sexually assault a 12-year-old girl. This happened in a local park in Nuneaton. Ahmed Mulakil was with another Afghan migrant, Mohammed Kabir. They had both engaged in conversation with this 12-year-old girl in this local park. Then a little later on in the evening of the 22nd of July, Ahmed Mulakil took this young girl, abducted her, took her to a quiet cul-de-sac in the town, and then subjected her to what has been described by police as a horrific ordeal, raping her multiple times, sexually assaulting her, and also taking indecent images while he was committing the crime. Well, Colette O'Keefe from Warwickshire Police reflected on the severity of this crime.
She'd been out playing in Marlborough Park. She was on the zip wire when she first noticed two men. She's left with Mr. Mulakil. They walk off towards Cheverell Place, and at the bottom of there, it's a cul-de-sac. It's very secluded. She was subjected to the most horrendous rape, sexual assault. I think they were very opportunistic. I think they saw that female hours before the actual offence. I think from there they targeted her. I don't think they went out that day to identify this particular victim. I think they just took an opportunity with her. In this particular case, you've got a 12-year-old victim. It's extremely important for her that we get justice, and we have.
Well, after 7 hours and 39 minutes of deliberation, the jury found Mohammed Kabir not guilty of all the charges he faced, but Ahmed Mulakil was found guilty of child abduction, multiple counts of rape, sexual assault and taking those indecent images. In videotaped evidence, this 12-year-old girl spoke of how she was absolutely petrified when she was being attacked and sexually assaulted. She said that at that point, Mulakil simply laughed. Well, today in the dock, Michelle, he wasn't laughing, he was in tears as the jury returned guilty verdicts on those charges.
Mark White, thank you very much for your updates on that one. I'll just start by saying, of course, all of our thoughts are with those two boys that Mark White described at the start of his segment there that have been seriously injured in a school. Of course, we wish them a hasty recovery, and my thoughts, secondly, go to that 12-year-old girl. Luke Sullivan, as a mother, never mind, I don't care TV presenter, as a mother, I am incandescent with rage about what has been done to our society. And I blame Keir Starmer. You just listened to that horrendous story of a 12-year-old girl, and this is the bit that we need to not lose sight of. 12. When we talk 12, ladies and gents, we talk a little girl that's just left primary school, is possibly in her first year at the next school. We're talking very young, innocent, naive little girls. You might have a daughter that age, a granddaughter, a niece, or whatever. This is on Keir Starmer. He is letting these men into this country, Luke. When people do not want these type of men in and around their daughters and their loved ones for fear of something like this happening to them, Keir Starmer refers to them jumping on far-right bandwagons. This is on him. Do you agree?
I mean, I just want to start just by saying I'm utterly sickened, and I think the viewers listening to Mark's report and listening to the police officer from Warwickshire Police who set out her belief, and I'm sure it's more than a belief given she prosecuted this individual. There is absolutely no words to describe the absolute horror and fear that young girl must have been in and the trauma. I understand why this is deeply emotional and people understandably will be asking serious questions about why were these two men, and we don't know the circumstances around why the other one was not found guilty, but one of them was. It was absolutely sickening. People
but
rightly
we know the
will ask
circumstances
questions.
of what they're doing. They're in this country, being paid for by my viewers, by the way, because people like Keir Starmer and your lot before, by the way, Jacqueline, your lot don't get off scot-free either. They are allowing people to repeatedly breach our border. They are disregarding continuously concerns that have been raised by people. Not only are they disregarding them, this is so insulting, Luke, that what Keir Starmer is doing, and not just Keir Starmer, he has the audacity to tell my viewers that if they take to the street in protest against these men at the end of their road, they don't want them there, that they are jumping on far-right bandwagons. That is sickening to people.
It's completely understandable why. I mean, I think in the light of this, there were very serious riots or big protests. Riots.
Yeah, there were protests.
Big protests. One of the things the government did rightly do in the wake of this was change the reporting conditions around the information that can be put into the public domain to make sure there's more transparency. That's a good step. However, this should never, ever have happened. But stepping back, you're right to ask the questions about why are our borders not secure? And Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood are doing absolutely everything, and I accept the public...
No, they're not. No, they're not, Luke. And let me ask you this.
And they're working at speed.
Oh, come off it. We have had Rhiannon Skywhite, for example, a little 5-year-old boy. I've got a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old boy doesn't have a mother. Why doesn't he have a mother? Because his mother was actually trying to help these people working at one of these hotels that all my viewers are paying for, and was stabbed 19 times in the head with a screwdriver. If this was one of Keir Starmer's children that was raped, snatched, abused, ridiculed, how quickly do you think he'd act then to try and sort this problem out?
I don't think there's any politician in this country, least of all Keir Starmer, who doesn't think absolutely everything should be done for any human being, anybody's child in this country to keep them safe.
So why did he say that people are jumping on a far-right bandwagon when they protest against this stuff?
I think there are a number of issues here in terms of... I don't know what the comments were for the far-right. That's not the...
No, Luke, know what he said about the far-right bandwagon. Everyone knows what he was saying about the far-right bandwagon. And this is an issue that haunts him to this day and will haunt him for the rest of his premiership, that he had the audacity. It's so sickening to my viewers. It is so sickening that when a man or a woman or whoever it is fears for the safety of their loved ones, and they take to the street, and this is what I want people to tell me. What can people do in society now? They're law-abiding, decent people. They've sat there, they've tolerated and tolerated and tolerated. They've tolerated their money being taken off them to fund these kind of things. They've tolerated their living standards being in rapid decline while still funding a better life in some instances for these men than they have themselves. They've tolerated women, children getting sexually abused. They've tolerated women getting stabbed in the head with screwdrivers. At what point does Keir Starmer, and I'm asking you because you know him, at what point does Keir Starmer sit there and think the people are going to tolerate this no more?
Well, the Prime Minister rightly thinks that nobody tolerates this, and that is why he is trying to move heaven and earth to reform what was a broken system. And I recognise this is going to sound like blaming the previous Conservative government, but we're only 18 months in. I recognise...
And what's happened in that 18 months?
Well,
the crossings have gone sky high. We've now had 60-odd thousand men make the crossings, which is more than under any Prime Minister for this duration of time. So things are getting catastrophically worse, not better. Incandescent, I did apologise at the top of the show. I've not even let Jackie get a word in edgeways, and I know Jacqueline, she'll want to. So stick with us. We'll come back to this after the break.